All right, guys. Well, if you guys are here for the Road to a Millie, short for Road to a Million, you guys are in the right spot. Kitty, how many weeks have we been doing this call for? Do you know?
Mm, all of them, but I don't know. Since
About,
March 15th.
yeah,
How many
I
weeks
think,
is that?
yeah, almost 30 weeks. We've been almost doing this for 30 weeks, give or take a couple of weeks. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah. So if you guys are your first time here, welcome to the party. We've been just documenting the journey of growing our second cleaning business down in Mesa, Arizona. If you guys don't know where that is, it's a I don't know what you would call it. I don't call it a suburb, but it's a district of Phoenix is what most people would recognize it as. Um, and so we started this business with zero clients, and we started it just Katie and I, just doing all the work, doing all the process and systems, learning the process and systems, even after have growing an initial cleaning business in a different state, Montana, to over $1 million. We have learned a lot from this business. I have learned a lot. Katie, have you learned anything?
I actually think I have learned more from this location than I did the first location because the first location I don't know if we just got lucky or like a lot worked along the way, but when stuff works, like you don't really actually learn.
Yeah,
We've messed up a lot of stuff in this location, so we've learned. I feel like more.
yeah. I actually think that it's almost just human nature. It's like when you're doing the first one, you're just doing everything to survive. You're doing everything to get outcomes. You're doing everything to like get to the next week that you don't really have the opportunity to learn. And so this one, we took what we thought we knew and we started doing it and realized that we just like it could have been done better. And so it forced us to create better process systems and uh, more streamlined. And then we were able to take that and then actually go back into Bozeman, which is where Katie was last week. If you guys were on here last week, Katie was actually in Bozeman and she was helping implement some of the things we learned down there or down here, up there. And now she also had brought things down there, up there from down here. Confusing myself, so I'm guarantee I'm confusing everybody else as well. So okay. So before we get into this, Katie, you want to share anything that you took from your week in Bozeman and sitting in the office with our office staff up there?
Yeah. Um, I think the most valuable thing that I learned is there is so much value in structure, in consistency, in routine, and in order for anybody to put an expectation on somebody else, they must go first. So if you in the office have an expectation that you want your cleaners to show up on time, when are you showing up to the office? Are you consistent? Are you a reliable person? Um, our office staff in Bozeman has made it work to this point, but I think this this last week that I spent with them, it was just really eye-opening into lack of good directions and lack of enforcing consistency. I think it just makes things simple. It makes things easier. It allows you to be able to hold the expectation on somebody else when you go first. That's takeaway number one. Takeaway number two is it takes a hell of a lot more inputs to grow something than it does to maintain something. The volume that Mesa does on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, is like 10x what Bozeman does, and Bozeman is twice as big, 2.5 times as big. So the effort to grow is definitely a lot more than the effort to maintain.
I think that's like super valuable, so you guys understand that like yes, like if your business isn't growing, like it's probably you're just not doing enough inputs. And so then the next question is, well, what are the inputs that need to get done? And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Like, here are the inputs that are required in order for you to grow a business. Um, and once you actually have something, then it doesn't require as much inputs to to stay where you're at, but it still requires inputs. But just the level is like how much. And so I think most people just don't even know what the inputs are required in order to grow something, let alone sustain something. Actually, the reason why most people's businesses stay the same is because they think they're doing the inputs to grow, but they're just doing the inputs in order to stay the same. And so that's what we're going to share with you guys today is the inputs that we are doing to grow, and we're going to show you guys where we're coming up short and where we feel like we're having enough inputs to grow, but we're humans like the rest of us, and like we don't know what we don't know as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive into the visual sheet. I'm going to make it real big so everybody in the back can see. Okay.
We're all sitting in the front row today.
Everybody gets front row seats today, actually. Just joking. You guys all got the best seats in the house. Okay, so this is the vision sheet. If you guys are the first time here, it's the first time you're seeing this, this is our data sheet. This is what we actually use to identify the inputs that are going to grow the business and to determine if we are meeting the inputs. And if we're not meeting the inputs, then what do we got to do to actually meet the inputs? And so at the very top of this vision sheet, we just have our goals. And so doing the do can get monotonous. It can get boring because day-to-day stuff, the fires, things happen, you get distracted. And so ultimately it's like, why are you doing this thing? And so this weekend, we did a deck in a day, which if you guys have never heard of that term before, it's where people come out, they spend a day out with Katie and I. We actually put them in our Airbnb, and we just get down on the business for one day. And it's always during those days. The thing I've done, every single one of them, Anna Harris is on here. I don't know if anybody else who's a Becca is on here, but I do with every single one of them is we get clarity on the goal. Why the frick are you doing this business? Why do you want to grow $1 million business? And we basically customize the $1 million business to the individual, because $1 million business is an arbitrary number, right? It's fun. It's a number that ends in zero. You never want to trust numbers that end in zero. Okay. If someone trusts you, you don't trust people who say things that end in zeros. Okay. And so we get a customized number based on like, why are you actually trying to grow a big old business? And it all comes down to clarity. Okay. And so for our goal, we want to build this thing up to $1 million, which is $82,000 a month. If you do $82,000 a month times 12, that equates to $1 million. Okay. Now, what is the reason that we actually want to grow $1 million business, Katie? Is it just to say we have another $1 million business because we want our status to go up and our feelings to feel real good?
Yeah, I have this beautiful plaque here, and I want another one. It says I'm a $1 million cleaning business owner. Yeah. I would like one more.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All for the plaque.
It's all for the plaque. We actually just sent another plaque out today. So how exciting is that?
Dope.
Okay. What is the second reason? If that's the main reason, we want our status to go up. What's the second reason?
Some cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately, in this business, I just had a conversation with somebody today who's not inside the cleaning business. He actually comes from the real estate world, which is the world that we came from before this. And so I was just trying to give him expectations of what to expect. And for the most part, cleaning businesses that are going to be non-owner operated, which means that you're the owner, you can have somebody else operate the business. You're going to have a margin between 15 and 25%. And I have somewhat of a big margin based on your model, based on your efficiencies. It can be a big range. However, for the most part, everyone's profit margin will be between 15 and 25% when somebody else is operating the business. Now, if you are the one who's operating the business, you can have a high profit margin. Yeah. But for a non-owner operated business, that's what we use. And let's just say 20% to make it put it right in the middle. And so in order for us to have somebody who actually runs the business, and for there to be enough for us, but most importantly, for the one who operates the business, that $1 million mark is kind of like the sweet spot. You know, maybe you could get away with like a little bit less, like $60,000, $70,000 a month. But $1 million just sounds cooler. But as we have gotten this business, as the further we get into this business, like the more revenue just means that you can pay more people more money, and the more money you pay other people, you get paid even more as well. Right. So that's really the reason why you want to grow. Like that's like if that's why that's the goal, it's really not for the status. It's not for the freaking plaque. Those are nice things. Those are the cherries on top. But it really just so you have enough money to actually pay somebody else to operate the business. So then you have the freedom to do what, Katie?
To do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want.
Yeah. For some of you guys, that's going to be hanging out with your kids. Some of you, that's going to be hanging out with your spouse. For some of you, it's going to be hanging out by yourself. You're your favorite person. Okay. It doesn't matter what your goals are, but at least you have the option to do what it is that you want to do. Okay. You just want the option to say no or say yes. It's just an option. And so Katie and I have gone through this phase many times in our lives, and like we have done the like not doing anything, spending time with family, spending time with each other, and we get really bored of both parties. And now we just like to grow more businesses. So the first business gives opportunity to start a second business, and then now we're going to start another one probably in the future, right? Because that's what we want to do. Now we don't have to. We can just say no if we want to as well. But that's that's what this business can give you. That's why growing $1 million business can be valuable if you never experienced that. Is it just gives you the option to do what
Can
it
I
is
add
that you
one
want
more
to do.
thing to the $1 million number?
Mm-hmm.
So roughly at $40,000 a month, you can afford an office staff. Your company can actually pay for an office staff. The reason that we always say 83 versus let's build $140,000 companies is because one is the loneliest number. If that one office staff leaves, you're 1 degree away from going back into that company as an owner. So as an owner operator, there's a little bit of protection in having 2 office staff. And at $1 million run rate, the company can technically afford 2 office staff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another thing that we do with Decade a Day is we actually do a business valuation. And for any of you guys who have never done a business valuation, I'll give you the skinny on how to get a very fat number. Is that big revenue gives you the opportunity to have big profits, and then the third piece that is going to increase your valuation is the elimination of a thing we call key man risk. Has anyone ever heard of the word key man risk?
It's a one-man show.
Yeah. So the more dependent a business is on one person, then it increases the risk of that person, right? So if you were to look at your business like you're going to sell it, or maybe you're going to buy your business. If you look at yourself like an investor, and you're going to buy a business, would you prefer to buy a business that has low revenues and low profits, and it's all dependent on one person? Say no. Say no. I would not want to buy that business, right? Or would you rather buy a business that has big revenues, let's say $1 million plus, that has big profits, let's say $250,000 plus profits a year, and is operated by somebody other than the owner, and there's also a second person in line that if that person who operates it goes down, there's another person in line. How many of you guys would want to buy that business?
All day long.
And so if you guys think about yourself as like the goal of your business is to increase the valuation of the business, sometimes the decisions become a little bit more clear. And so ultimately that's the model that we are doing, that we are sharing with everybody, is like, how do you make a business that somebody would want to buy? And that's honestly the reason that we got to this place, is because there was a time and a place where Katie came to me and was like, let's just shut this thing down. I am tired of this business. I hate this business. And I was like, okay.
I think there were a few swear words involved and a lot of tears in that moment. I was done.
Yeah. Katie was done. We just had 4 of our 6 cleaners quit. And we were doing probably between like $20,000 and $25,000 a month. And she was like, I'm done. I was like, I want to quit this business. And I was like, okay, we can quit it, but we're not just going to give up. We're just going to build this thing to actually freaking sell it. And we're going to build it so somebody actually wants this thing. And so that's what we did. We built it to sell it. And then when we created this asset, we're like, I don't think I want to get rid of it. And so that's really where this whole process of like building a business as an asset came from. And then now we are the first in line to buy the business or to sell the business. And like right now, like we're not sellers. But I can tell you what, guarantee it, that if I offered this business to this group on here right now, like somebody would buy the freaking thing. It would just make sense. Like who would here would like $250,000 of cash flow that you're not the one who operates the business?
Me.
I mean,
I'll buy it.
Exactly. Right. So that's what we're trying to build again for the second time. And for a lot of you guys are building this for the first time. And so sometimes it's like the first time you do it, it's hard. And the second time it gets a little bit easier. And so that's our goal, is to share with you the first time, the second time. And then there's other people now inside our group that have built in our businesses as well, that the more that it just becomes like the thing, then the less limiting beliefs that get in the way. So that's the whole point of us sharing these calls. And the reason why that we do it as well is because as much as it helps you guys, it helps us as well. Because the more that we are able to teach, the more it forces us to understand. And the more we understand, it allows us to make better decisions. It allows us to make decisions based on logic rather than, okay, let's just see what happens. Which, by the way, we still do that. Just so you guys know, like we still make those decisions because we don't know everything. So we're like, okay, let's just make it happen. Let's just try some things. But majority of our decisions are based on previous data, which generally leads to a high probability of success. Okay, so now we're 20 minutes in, and now let's actually get to the vision sheet. Katie, are you ready? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Goals. Okay, cool. Goals. So for us, we have 3 big goals when it comes to cleaners. We want to see our cleaners get a certain amount of job ticket hours every single week, a certain amount of average hours per cleaner, and then number of cleaners. And so for us, our goal to get to $83,000 a month, we need 383 job ticket hours, which is, you can also just call that cleaning hours. How many hours are our cleaners cleaning? Because we don't pay hourly, we pay on a revenue share. And then how many hours are those cleaners working? We want our cleaners to work on average 28 hours. We want to get the most out of our cleaners. Instead of having 30 part-time cleaners, we'd rather have 14 full-time cleaners. That's really what our mindset is. And the number of cleaners, like I said, we need 14 cleaners who are working 28 hours to get us to that $1 million run rate, which is $83,000 a month. And so right now we're at 11 cleaners. Our cleaners last week did 22, and then our job ticket hours was at 196. For the client goals or the revenue goals here, our projected monthly revenue is sitting at $40,300. Monthly revenue to date, $8,000 for the week of 9/28 to 10/04. Weekly revenue, why is that different? Oh, why is that different actually? Well, because because Monday and Tuesday. Oh, because Monday was let's see. That's why
this is 9/28 to 10/4, so we had to take 9/28 out of the monthly.
Yeah, 9/28, 9/29, and 9/30. Taking out the monthly. Okay, cool. That makes sense. And the revenue per clean was 191, and then weekly total cleans was 56. So this revenue per clean is a little bit down under our $200 revenue per clean number that we would like to see. But you can see we actually did a lot more cleans last week. We did 56 total cleans. So I think that's actually a PR. I think that's the most cleans that we've done in a week. So it's not too bad. And then you guys can see over here, we always like to track the data over the course of weeks because ultimately you're going to have peaks and valleys and you're going to have ups and downs. And so this right here, this weekly revenue was actually, it wasn't a PR, but it wasn't that far off. It was like $500 or $600 off for our PR. Last week was actually a weekly revenue PR. And so in order for us to do $1 million, if you guys have never seen this number before, like you need about $19,000 a week. That's what's going to put you in that $1 million run rate. And you'd be surprised that like when you finally hit 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, you'd be surprised at how quickly that can grow as long as you'll see below, you keep your marketing going for both clients and cleaners. Okay. But this can actually this number can grow really fastly once you actually get past a certain threshold.
I think you just created a new word. I've never heard that word before, but I liked it. Fastly. It can grow fastly.
Yeah, there we go. New words. Let's go an accident. I don't remember saying that. Okay. Okay. So revenue. So revenue last week, Zenmade and QuickBooks. So the reason why we do both, some of you guys probably have a CRM. You guys probably use a CRM like Zenmade, or maybe use Jobber, or maybe use Booking Koala. There's a bunch of CRMs out there. They're all fine. Actually, they all suck. But ultimately, they all have their downfalls, right? So ultimately, like, just pick one. And the reason why we like Zenmade is just because we have used it. We know the owner. And that's pretty much it, right? They all suck to some degree. QuickBooks, everyone should have an accounting software. It doesn't have to be QuickBooks. There's other ones out there as well. But we use Zenmade to bill the clients. And then there's a thing called a processor, which we use Stripe. Stripe actually processes the payments, and then Stripe deposits the money into our bank account. Then we use QuickBooks as an accounting software as a way to show the income for our business, and then also to show any expenses we have. So at the end of the year, when our accountant's like, hey, show me your P&L, also known as profit and loss, we have an accounting software that shows that we made X amount of money and we expense this amount of money, which netted us this amount of money. And then guess what, boys and girls? You pay taxes on what is left.
Taxes.
Yeah. Or if you learn how to buy real estate, you don't pay any taxes. But that's another game that's a whole nother level for different people. But when you start making $20,000 a month, which is what you would do on a $100,000 a month business, and you're taking home $250,000, and unless you can spend all $250,000, which, by the way, some of you guys probably can, but if you can't, there's other strategies for you to be able to not have to pay taxes on all $250,000. And a really good strategy is real estate, but separate subject. Different day, different Zoom, different day. But that's where the Zenmade in the QuickBooks. That's why we track both, is how much money was billed and then how much money was collected. So we billed $8,388. All this is monthly. So for the week we billed $10,000, and then for QuickBooks we actually collected $9,806. Okay, and there will always be discrepancy between billed and collected. That's just the way it is. Okay, so on that $10,000, we had 6,000 of that dollars was initial clean revenue. So this was all first time money. It's the first time we've ever had served these customers. And then 4,000 of it was reoccurring. So this is actually one of our lower reoccurring numbers, which is probably the reason why our schedule like started out the week very, very empty. It was very scary. Is because this is one of our lower reoccurring revenue weeks, which that makes sense, right, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to do a big push to fill schedules last week, but that would make sense now. So, but $6,000 of new money, it's not bad. Okay, outstanding invoices, we had $4,000 less than 7 days, and then greater than 7 days, we got about 1,000 sitting out there. So go collect some monies. All right, the next section of the vision sheet, guys, is going to be marketing. So marketing is the process of getting known, right? So if we have ad spend, we spend money in two places. We spend money on Google local services, not to be confused with Google Ads. Google Ads is a whole different monster. It's very complicated. I paid someone lots of money to try to figure it out, and it just never made sense. And that same person also ran ads for many people who are on this call right now, and I've seen their data, and I've never seen Google Ads truly be profitable. So not something I recommend for a cleaning business, specifically cleaning business. Google Ads work. Just so you guys know, Google Ads work. Cleaning business, our customer isn't like your lifetime value of your customer. Actually, I should say this: how much a customer buys is going to be dependent on how much you can spend on marketing. Okay, and so if our typical first time customer is going to spend between $200 and $500, are you willing to spend $500 to get a Google lead? Would you guys spend $500 on Google in order to get a customer that might be worth up to $500? It's tough, right? Now, if you had a customer that was worth $10,000, would you spend $500 to get that lead on Google?
Yeah.
So Google Ads work. Just some businesses it works better for, depending on how much money you can charge your customers. Okay, that's all. Google local services, we spent $414. Facebook, we spent $1,700. So altogether, last week we spent $2,131 on Facebook. We got 72 leads on Facebook, 3 Facebook Messenger, 0 Facebook group. We had 4 missed call leads. We had 4 Google local services. So one of the issues that we had last week we talked about with our team here is we actually do get messages. So these are just phone calls from Google LSA. We do get messages, and we still haven't found a good way to input these leads into our system so they're trackable. So we're not spending $100 a lead on Google. There's messages that we're getting that we're just not tracking. So that is also a problem with Google LSA, is that their system, they don't have any automations. They're like, it's clunky, for lack of a better term. It's very clunky, but it's also very freaking easy. How many of you guys use Google LSA? Any of you guys use Google LSA? Yeah. It's like once you set it up, it's like you just forget about it and people just call. So that's the nice part of Google LSA. It's very simple. Homepage leads, we've got 10 homepage leads, which is really cool to see. The bigger number this gets, the more excited I get, because these people are buyers. Like a lot of our buyers come from homepage leads. We see in our first location in Bozeman, like so many of our buyers come from homepage. And like if somebody Googles you and puts in their information in your homepage, like it's like there's a high probability that prospect will turn into a customer. So I love to see these leads. 3 incoming call leads, and then 0 referrals. We had 96 leads last week at $22. So doing good. Not bad on the marketing. Now, the part that we've been stressing a lot lately, this is what we found to be our constraint, the reason that our business is not at $1 million yet. It's always the question to ask myself, why aren't we at $1 million yet today? Sales. We actually have a sales constraint right now. So last week, we had 22 unfilled spots. That is by far the most spots we've ever had unfilled. We went from having 0s, 2s, and 3s to, I think last week we had 12. Is that right, Katie? Let me go back and look. I'll go back and peek ski at it here. Yeah, we had 12 last week. Week before that, we had 12. Week before that, I think, was 2. Week before that was 0. Yeah, so we definitely have a lot more where we're at here. We've had a lot more availability, and that's also because we've been like onboarding cleaners like crazy. We went from, I don't know how many cleaners, 8 cleaners to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cleaners right now. So in training, like we have cleaners that are not counted, that they're in training, but that's why these spots are unfilled. So we definitely have a sales constraint right now. And number of spots open, we have 33 this week. We have 33 spots open this week, and all morning our girls have been in here hammering phones, and yeah, they've made 3 closes already this morning, and 2 of them are $600 claims. I don't know what the third one was, but that's currently our constraint. We just need to continue to fill schedules. And so you can see here the activity that's required. So again, back to what I talked about earlier, it's one thing to like want to grow, but it's another thing to actually do what's required in order to grow. And this is going to be the biggest thing that almost every single business in here that this will help you grow your business is just doing more phone calls. Like this thing right here is like the gateway for you to have a $1 million business. This thing, okay? And so between our 2 girls, they made 452 phone calls, right? It's a lot of phone calls. Most people can't do that individually. Of course, that's why you have 2 people who are doing it. But you as a business owner, it's more difficult because you guys also have other tasks, you have other duties, you have other responsibilities in your business, let alone outside of other things you have outside of your business as well, right? And so ultimately, back to what we talked about earlier, the reason why you actually want to have a $1 million business is you can pay somebody for 8 hours of their unfocused time, or 8 hours of their focused time to dedicate it to your business every single day. That's how valuable having a big revenue business is so you can pay somebody to focus on your business, because you cannot. How funny is that? You don't have the bandwidth or attention to focus on your own damn business. Not the individual pieces of it by themselves, but you need to focus on the entirety of it, right? So that's why you want a big old business, okay? Okay, scheduled cold calls. We had 35 scheduled cold calls. We had 26 show up. We did 63 performed. So the reason that we were able to do 63 quote calls performed, even though we only had 26 people show up to their their scheduled quote calls, is because of all those outbound phone calls. Out of those 452 outbound phone calls, we created another 37 connections, 37 people who we were able to talk to and give them a quote for a cleaning. Okay. So again, back to the activity required, like it's a lot of phone calls. And then out of those 63 people, 33 of them closed. Okay. Which 33 of them got on our schedule. What we consider closes, they actually got onto our schedule. So we closed between the 2 girls about 52%, which, as you guys can see, my good, right? Anything between 51 and 69% good, 70% over, I consider that great. Okay. Projected quote call revenue, that generated almost $9,000 of new monies. So this number is pretty cool to see. And then we had 3 conversion calls, or 3 of those initial cleans turned into reoccurring clients. So our conversions are anybody who goes on biweekly or weekly, biweekly every 4 weeks. And out of there, we had $637 of conversion or of new monthly revenue coming in. Okay. So this number is good. This 33. This was a little bit lower than we'd like to see, because as I get down here, I'll really showcase you guys how I know how soon we're going to be able to get to $1 million. And it's going to be based a little bit on this number, but it's going to be based a lot on our ability to actually show up every single week with reoccurring on the books. Okay. So let's talk about client fulfillment. So like I said, last week we did 56 cleans. 21 of those were new client, 35 were reoccurring. We have 17 Google reviews. I actually think this was 21. This number's not correct. Oh no, it is. It's the date.
It is.
Yeah. It's the date. Yeah, sorry. So we actually had 4 more reviews come in over the weekend. We had no correction cleans discounts. That's interesting. It's the first time we've not had any correction claims in a while. And then reoccurring client goals, 161. So this is the number I want to talk to you guys about. This is like an epiphany. I guess it's not really an epiphany. I just started to look for more data points, more indicators of how soon can we get this business to $1 million. And so when I was looking at Bozeman, I started looking at what was their reoccurring when they went on the run to get to $1 million. And so Bozeman had about $60,000 of reoccurring money on the books in the first month that they hit the 83,000. And I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And so then I just did the math on what it would take our business down here in Mesa in order for us to start the month out at $60,000, which means that when you guys start the month, that you have $60,000 that just is projected on the books. Now, some of those people are going to cancel, so it's not like it's guaranteed money, but it's as guaranteed or as close to guaranteed as you're going to get. Okay, and so I did the math on it, and we need 161 recurring clients in order for our business to start the month out with $60,000 of recurring revenue, which means that we only have to sell about $5,000 per week in new money in order for us to hit $1 million, right? Because 5,000 times 4 is 20,000, 60,000 times 20,000 is 80,000, so plus 3,000, whatever, right? So that's where I came up with this number. We get to 161, then we give ourselves a really good opportunity for us to actually hit that. Because if you guys look at this number right here, Katie, how much did we sell last week?
Almost 9,000.
Yeah. Now all that wasn't in one specific week. But if we come back up here, guys, so this is where I'm trying to put some of these numbers together. Like this week we did $6,000 in new money. So where we have the new money come in, $6,000, if we can do that times 4, that's 24,000, right? Which means if you start out the month with 60,000, you're able to do $6,000 of new money in a week. Times that by 4, it's $24,000. There's your $84,000, right? So if you guys aren't tracking what your recurrent client number is, I think most people actually do track this to some degree, but understanding why you're tracking it. So that's the part that makes sense for me, because we always track this number, but now and it's more real, because now I know that if we have 161 recurring clients, that we're going to start the month out with about $60,000, which means that we have a real fighting chance of actually getting to $1 million. And then, and then obviously we want to continue to grow past that. But like this is the first time that we'll have a real chance at actually hitting $1 million. Is when we get to 161. And this week we actually broke 100 for the first time. So pretty exciting. We actually got to 100. So how do we get 60 more recurring clients? How do we get 60 recurring clients today?
Well, I wish we could, but unfortunately we can't.
Yeah. So sometimes there is constraints, and it's like, well, how do we just get 20 new clients a week so we can convert maybe at least 50% of those into reoccurrings? So that becomes
would be only 6 weeks away.
Yeah. Well, that would also factor in not having any attrition to current recurring clients, which is highly unrealistic. However, just like these are the conversations, guys, that like we have in our heads, that like the more of this you can turn into math rather than like, I don't know why business isn't growing, I'm never going to get to $1 million. It's like, well, it depends. Tell me your inputs. Like, how many recurring clients do you have? How many are you getting every single week? How many initial cleans are you getting in order for you to have the opportunity to convert those into recurring clients? And so we can turn this less into an emotional game and just turn this into math. Right? And this isn't like complicated trigonometry. This isn't complicated formulas or algorithms. It really is like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's it. Right? Simple math. So that is the client fulfillment, which is cool. We had 22 occasional clients. Cleaner acquisition. So last week we spent $138 on Indeed. I just got fired from my job. I've been the recruiter. I've been the person who's been interviewing I've been the recruiter. I've been finding new cleaners. I've been hiring them. I've been doing the whole process, and I got fired last week. Got demoted. And yeah, I finally, after 7 months, I'm like, I think I have a decent process on this that I can now teach somebody else how to do it. And so starting this week, I am no longer doing this position. So it's super exciting. This is the thing I've held on to, one of the longer term duties I've held on to, just because I think it's so important. It's like, that's what this business is. Like, we are in the recruiting business. We're in the business of finding, hiring, onboarding, and retaining cleaners. That is what this business is. And so, yeah, I'm finally feeling confident to teach somebody else how to do that process. And so the thing that I'm actually currently doing in our business now, which I still think is probably the most valuable thing, is the retaining piece. And so I'm still doing one-on-ones. I'm doing one-on-ones with our cleaners every single week. And it's an opportunity for me to figure out what the problems are, to figure out how we can help them. It's an opportunity for me to give them feedback as well. And just to create an opportunity for us to establish a relationship. Right? If you guys think about some of your best relationships that you guys have, probably your spouses, maybe your kids, like those relationships are built on communication. The frequency of the communication, right? And so if we can just understand that like communication is what creates strong relationships, then the people who are out in the field, who are doing the work, sometimes, like, unless you're the one out there doing the work with them, sometimes that communication, it gets it gets smaller and smaller to almost non-existent. And so how do you keep up with on that? If you have proactive opportunities, have proactive meetings or proactive communication cycles with them in order for you to be able to actually still figure out what their needs are, potentially be able to solve their needs, and then also be able to hold them accountable to whatever their goals are or what their job is. And that's where I found the value in the one-on-ones. And so like, that's something that I'm still holding on to. And there'll be a period. And then like the next level would be me to eventually give that up. But for right now, like that is actually the only thing that I do that I'm not now as of this week that I'm doing inside our business is I'm doing one-on-ones, and I co-host a team meeting with Katie. That is it. Right. Oh, and I guess I train the office staff too. So we have an office training once a week or once a day. But those are the things that I feel like are the most valuable use of my time. And then I've learned a skill and I teach it to somebody else, and then they will learn the skill, and then hopefully they will teach it to somebody else as well. Like that's our blueprint is learn a skill, share it. And that's not just for us as the business owners, that's also for our teammates. Like we don't want them to also be stuck. So like you learn the skill and you learn how to share it, you learn that next skill of teaching it, you become more valuable. Right. So my final week, I did 38 website applicants. We had 38 website applicants. I did 18 interviews, 11 performed, 4 scheduled. 11 phone interviews, 18 phone interviews scheduled. 11 of those actually showed up. And from those 11 phone interviews, I pushed 4 of them to Zoom interviews. And then out of those 4 Zoom interviews, 3 people showed up and 1 was hired. I actually ended up hiring another girl this morning. But so actually 2 of those did get hired. As far as our pipeline goes, how many of you guys were on Kayla Irby's call last week? Were any of you guys on? All you guys who are inside the school community? Were any of you guys on Kayla Irby's call? Yeah. Did you guys see her pipeline?
Yeah, she's about to blow the fuck up. Excuse my language.
Oh my God. If you guys were not on there, she has 11 people in her pipeline. Like, freaking crazy. But she also has a business that's going to do $90,000 this month. So again, if you guys want to have a big old business, then you got to do the inputs that are required. You got to put more people through training when you're growing. And so, yeah, so Jenna actually just graduated. So she made it. Raven and Marissa, they're in their second week, but both showed up, although Marissa showed up late today. So we'll see how that turns out. And then Aspen is scheduled for Friday. And there's actually another girl right here that I just did this morning. That's why she's not on here, but she will start on Friday as well. She'll get on board on Friday. Her name is Callie. And with that being said, we also had a cleaner put her 2 weeks in. This was actually one of our trainers. This was somebody who was our second best cleaner. I would say she was like the second, like top. I mean, she was top 2, 100%, like not even close. And so she put her 2 weeks in, and she took another job. So like as quickly as like it's like it just changes so fast. And Katie was actually when Katie was in Montana, so I told her after I had the conversation with Rachel what happened, and she's like, "It's part of the game." I was like, "Okay, yeah, right." So even just so you guys know, like as much as I hope to come off, I hope I don't come off preachy. I'm just sharing you guys what we know, and what we have going on. But like I have these same conversations. The reason sometimes I get a little aggressive is because like these are the conversations I have that I've gotten over. That I'm basically yelling at myself. I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just yelling at myself for having gone through this and trying to get the point across so you guys can have the opportunity to change your beliefs quicker, right? But Katie reminded me, is like, this is part of the game. It's like, oh yeah, okay. And that's why we always keep the hiring funnel going. Because just the day before, I was like, you see all these open spots, Katie? Maybe we should like pause the hiring. And she's like, nope. I was like, okay. Can we pause it? No. I was like, ah.
Our roles reversed. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's so funny. So also the value of also having somebody you can just talk to, and you can just like share ideas and share the quick knee-jerk feelings, and then also be reminded real quickly, it's like, stop, just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. And then literally not even 2 days later, I was like, okay, thank God we kept this thing going. So
yeah, it's emotional. Like when you feel it, you want to share it, and then
Yeah.
Having somebody just say, let's just go with the data.
Yeah.
Like your feelings are fleeting.
Yeah. Exactly. Again, the value of having a good partner, like I having Katie, but not everybody has that opportunity. And so that's what you can get from like having coaches, mentors, peers, a community. That's one of the values of the school community is, being around other business owners who are going through the same shit you are and having the same problems you have and probably already solved the problems you have had. And like, yeah, I know what you're feeling and here's a solution. So like you can stop feeling sorry for yourself and like start actually taking action on solving the problem. Because at the end of the day, like that's really what you want for yourself. And that's what your fellow business owner wants for you as well is like, go create some solutions, right? Go create some stories, go do something. Go do some inputs. So I had some one-on-ones last week. Kayla, Amanda, Miranda. I thought I had one more, but anyway. So these are the ones that I talked about earlier. These are just a good way to connect with the cleaners. And I'll just give you guys a quick framework. This is exactly how I do this. If you guys are like, what did I say? How do I do this? I get on the phone call. I'm like, hey, what's up, Kayla? Good to see you, friend, right? Or good to chat with you, friend. I do this on the phone. I do it on their way to the very first clean. Okay. So that way it's as time efficient for everybody as possible. And I'll say, okay, cool. So if it's their first time, I'll set with them the framework of the call. Be like, okay, so this is your first one-on-one. So this is kind of how it works is like, I want to see how you're doing. I want to make sure that if you have any issues, questions, concerns, I get them addressed. And then I'm going to give you some feedback. And then if you have any feedback from me, please let me know. And then I'm going to give you some feedback I've got from the other cleaners, the clients, and the office staff. Does that sound cool? And they always say, cool. Okay, cool. So tell me what questions or concerns you have, right? And so whether this person's been with us for a week or two, or they've been with us for a couple months, like it's a great opening for you to actually just like, everyone has questions or concerns. Like, well, this is my concern. This is my question. I had a question. I actually had a question about this. I thought about this pay thing. I have a concern about another cleaner, and it's your opportunity not to solve the problem, but just to listen. This is so coming from somebody who loves to solve problems. These calls are less about solving the problems and more about just listening. Okay. But that's the framework for those one-on-ones, and that's how you become very, very valuable. And that's how you also have a good pulse on your team. You have a good idea if someone's going to leave or not, or you have a good idea of when somebody they have something going on. And all these one-on-ones are always where we get people who are like, oh yeah, I have another job now, or I have this going on, or I don't know if I told you this, right? But I have this coming up. And so like there are always opportunities for you to also be ahead of cleaners' lives change. Like you guys entrepreneurs are the biggest changers on the planet, right? As Kayla we talked about on her call, she's like, one of her teammates said that your middle name should be called Change. Well, that's just entrepreneurs. Like your name is Change. So why do you expect other people to not also change? Like their plans change, where they live change, their goals change, and so expect them to change. Right? And so these are opportunities for you just to be ahead of the change. Like, hey, so you told me that you want to be here forever. Is that still the case? Well, actually, I'm going back to school. Oh, news to me, right? So again, instead of you being like, oh, I can't believe she's going back to school, it's like you can be ahead of these things by having these one-on-ones. Like, oh, when are you going back to school? I'm going back in a month and a half. So that way you have like a month and a half to at least have some preparation. And then at that point, you can do what you want with the information. But that's the value of these one-on-ones. Also, just giving the cleaners opportunity to actually voice your concerns. Like most people aren't willing to like you guys even think about your point of view, like from your guys' perspectives, like how willing are you to actually like talk about some of like the little nitty gritty problems that you have, unless somebody just like asks you about them. Like, well, yeah, I'll actually tell you my problems. And so that's your opportunity is actually figure out what problems your cleaners have, so you can actually solve them. Right? So valuable. So as far as cleaners go, yeah, Jocelyn is our top cleaner. You see Rachel here. Alyssa is our third cleaner. She's our other trainer. She actually crushed it last week. She got a lot of hours. And then Taylor, Kayla, Asia, all awesome. Alexia, she has stomach ulcers. We have no idea whether she's even alive or if she's talking to us anymore. We have no idea what's going on with her, which sucks because she was actually like clients really like her, and the other teammates really like her too, and like actually we really liked her as well. But she's having some health issues, and like we have no idea what's going on with her.
She was actually somebody that Logan did not hire because she thought that she wanted to go to school in the future. And he's like, absolutely not. And the girl, she was like, why? As soon as we sent her the rejection, she's like, can I genuinely like ask why? Like, I really want this position. And Logan was like, well, you said you were going to school. And she's like, no, no, no. I'll drop that commitment. Like, I want this job. And he's like, okay. Scheduled a Zoom interview and ended up hiring her.
You know, one of the few people who are rejected who's made it past. But yeah, and so anyway, good human, just having health issues. Most likely, it's not going to work out. That's part of the game. Part of the game. Jenna, I don't know if this is right. I think Jenna worked last week, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to double check that. So and then Marissa and Raven were both in training. So so yeah. So that's what our team did last week. Revenue per claim about $54 an hour. So it's not too shabby, not too bad at all. And then 5-star reviews, I think we're at 225. So then we got 21 last week. So we're on a tear right now with Google reviews. We had 20 the week before and then 21 last week. So we're definitely on a tear. Our girls are figuring it out. You just ask. People are willing to give you reviews. And we also have been helping in the office. We've been sending text messages. So this is all part of the 100 reviews in 100 days module that I have inside the school community. And we had honestly been so reliant on just our cleaners that we hadn't even send any text messages to our clients who were able to write Google reviews. And then now we started sending them, and having both of them together can make this thing go real fast. So yeah, so in the past 2 weeks, we've got 40-something reviews, which is pretty crazy. Correction claims, discount claims, we actually had none. Interesting. Canceled recurring clients. We had 2 canceled, Karina Smith and Katie Wilson. And we had 3 new recurring clients. So looks like we just netted 1. So again, back to the idea of like, yes, you want to get recurring clients, but you got to get them faster than you lose them. Right? So ultimately, like, expect that you're going to lose clients. I think this is the part that used to bum me for a long time. Not so much in this business, but in my first gym business, like when I would lose a client, I would take it very personal. I would be very upset. Until I just started to understand that like the expectation is that you're going to lose clients. We just need to bring more clients on faster than we lose them. And that way the business can net grow. And so we netted 1, which is better than going backwards. And then cancel claims. This is something that we've been tracking for the last 2 weeks as a way to get a better idea of like, we have claims on the schedule and then they're canceling to see if this is an issue. And I think last week was our first time that we tracked this. I'm going to go back and look at it. And we had $2,000 of money cancel. And then last week we had $1,600 of clients cancel. So again,
that's 22 spots.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so we have an issue here with canceling clients. And so up to this point, we actually haven't been taking credit card over the phone. This is actually something that in our first location of Bozeman that we do. We take credit card over the phone as a way to, if somebody does cancel last minute, we actually can charge them, and it just decreases the probability that somebody will cancel last minute. And so that's actually going to be something that we move forward on down here. Actually, last week, Keziah, who's one of our office gals, she just like started doing it. Like she heard us talking about it, heard it was a frustration, and she's like, I'm tired of this too. And so she started taking credit cards, and I heard it again this morning. And so that'll be something that we implement moving forward, is that we actually start taking credit cards to see if we can mitigate the problem of cancellations during the week. It's not going to eliminate it, but we want to mitigate it. That's the goal. So, or at least we can charge people 50% of the service price, which our first location does do that as well, and it's part of the game. So, discounts. Let's see what we did for discounts last week. We had a couple military discounts, looks like. We had a $50 cleaning voucher discount, and then we had a couple quick fill discounts. So altogether, we discounted about $500 of cleans last week. I think that is about it. Kitty M, what do you think about this week?
Yeah, I was looking back a little bit at the recurring consistent revenue, and it seems like this 4th week has historically been low. So just something to note for when we do book recurrings, to maybe help them land on this week for a little while. From a strategy standpoint, to get that recurring weekly revenue up. Obviously harder done than said, but a goal. Inputs are there, calls are there. Collecting credit cards is huge. I think that's like a huge way that we can minimize the breakage of the schedule halfway through the week. And when the schedule breaks, the conviction in the sales girls drops and I can see it. Like they're just like, fuck, now I gotta like fast fill the schedule, and they're just like they lose their closing percentage because now they have to close rather than like just doing their thing. Creates unnecessary stress for them. I like our pipeline. Pipeline looks good. And I think just doing more of what we're currently doing.
No.
Do the boring work over and over and over again.
Sounds so boring. I want to do something different. I don't want to do the same. I don't make phone calls every day. I want to have to market to people
I
and
just
talk
don't
to
want to sit at $40,000 again this month. So
I just want to do something different. I don't want to do any of this anymore. It's been 30 weeks. Can I stop? Can I do something different, please?
I went back and looked at the data for
Why are you
Bozeman.
ignoring me?
Because you're annoying me. But for 4 months we sat at between $40,000 and $45,000 when we grew from 40 to 83. So we're not going to do that again.
So we can do something different. We can not.
But then we entirely skipped 50 and we went straight to 69. So it's possible.
Okay, so what you're saying is that we don't have to do 400 phone calls. We don't have to convert. We don't have to sell 30 clients a week. We don't have to do 5 conversions a week. We don't have to do that stuff. Or hire 2 cleaners a week. We don't have to do that, right?
What did I just say?
We can do something totally different.
You didn't hear me.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay, so I guess we'll just do that. Just do that.
Yeah, just do whatever you say. It's fine.
Yeah. These are my thoughts, guys. Just so you know, like shit, I could do the same thing over and over again. If you want to grow, yes, right. Just you do the phone calls. You bring energy on the phone calls. You talk to your initial cleans. You offer them reoccurring, and you hire 1 to 2 cleaners every single week. If you want to have a $1 million business, that's what it takes. If you want to have fun, you want to have excitement, and you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to like post stuff on social media, like do whatever else. You're just low probability you're gonna have a $1 million clean business, right? So, one question I saw in the chat is the school. So James, I don't know if James is James still on here. James, are you on here?
Yeah, he's here.
Okay, cool. Will you drop the roadmap to $1 million? So James will drop the link to the roadmap to $1 million. And the road to $1 million is me like actually walking through school, inside of school. I was showing you guys like exactly the steps that I would coach you to take in order for you to grow a $1 million business. And so I'll walk you through the marketing, which we talked about earlier. I'll walk you through the sales process, right? And I would walk you through the cleaner recruiting process and then the cleaner onboarding process, right? And all the derivatives of those things are also inside school. And that's where the roadmap to $1 million is, which Katie just dropped down below. And inside there, once you go through that, that's what the school community is. It literally is the road to $1 million, how it's organized. And then in there, if you are interested, you can apply to join the school community. And so the cost, someone asked about costs. So the cost for the school community is $2,346. However, I just dropped a payment plan for people. So if you're like $2,300 is a lot of money out of pocket, I totally get it. It can definitely affect the cash flow. I do have a payment plan because my goal is to give you the information. So then like if you can't make $2,300 with information inside school, I will just give your money back to you. Like seriously, my goal is for you to have a $1 million business, and part of you having $1 million business is commitment. And so a lot of the times making a commitment to do different things, doing different systems is difficult. It's hard. And so how you can get someone to just make that stuff easier is if you get them to put their money in and say, you know what, I think that this can work for me. I want to do this. And the bigger that money is, well, the easier it is for me to be like, okay, You can pay money to listen to yourself. You can pay money to listen to me. And as long as you believe I have your best interest in mind, then I'll point you, then like listen to the directions I give you. Right. And that's my goal. So on here, so for you guys who are new here, like my goal is just for you to have trust me to know that like my only motive is to help you grow your business. Because truthfully, like the bigger you grow your business, like I become more valuable then, and the more valuable I become, then I have the ability to make more money. And so I make you more money first, and then you're like, wow, I'll give you. Well, so for the people who do decade a day and they paid $10,000, the price just went up now. It's now $12,500. Like once they actually do it, they're like, this is like ridiculous because they make so much more money than $10,000, $12,000 that they're like, it's a no-brainer, right? And so that's my goal with the school community as well. Is that if you pay $2,000, my goal is to make you $10,000 in the first couple months of that thing per month. Like an extra $10,000 in your business per month. It just becomes like a no-brainer. So again, if you guys are interested, you guys can apply, but go to the roadmap to $1 million, apply there. You can see exactly what the school community is. And you get to hang out with other cool people like Renee Krause, who's on here, Jocelyn, Lucas, Marie, Janisa, Jose. Yeah, there's a lot of people on here. Why am I even pitching this? Everyone in here is already inside the school community. Kayla, Anna Harris, Bobby. You guys are already inside the school community. Jennifer.
We also don't know who is operations. Like put your name as your name so we know who you are.
Yeah. I don't know who operations is.
Or user or iPhone. We want to know you.
Cool. Cool. Oh, you're all good. You didn't know. You don't know. Now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Katie's just yelling at you. She's just yelling. She's a yeller.
I'm yelling at myself. Don't worry.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, super appreciate you guys hopping on here. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for giving us your attention. And you guys. Hopefully, you guys took something from today of just what's required in order to grow the business. Thank you guys for having your cameras on. Ibrahim, I've been seeing you the whole time, so thank you for being part of this game. And Renee Krause, I see you up there as well. And you guys are the only ones who I see, besides Katie. So thank you guys so much for hopping on here today. Happy freaking Monday. Go out there and grow some businesses. And one of the things that you guys are now seeing, like you guys saw Kayla Irby last week do her first coaching call, and Jessica Lucas have been doing their coaching call for a couple months now, is go create a story in your life that is inspiring to others so that they can go reach their goals. And that's what we're trying to do here is we're going first. We're leading. We've been showing the first location in Bozeman. We got to $1 million. We're showing the second location. We're going to get to $1 million. Jessica and Lucas are showing their journey to get to $1 million. Kayla Irby is showing her journey to get to $100,000 a month. And the next person is in this room. The next person is in here who's going to share their story. So in order for you to go share your story, you got to go do the thing required, which is go fuck up. You got to go make some mistakes. You got to go piss some people off. And most importantly, you're going to piss yourself off because you're not going to be freaking perfect. You're going to make mistakes because you've never done it before. And even when you've done it before, you're still going to make mistakes. So there's if you need a reason to feel comfortable making mistakes, it's good stories are built off making mistakes. They're built off not getting there the first time. And so go do it. Go create a story so then you can have one of these calls for yourself that you can have 30 random strangers show up to and actually be interested. That's you guys. Go do that. And I promise you, I'll give you a platform, right? And this platform is going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. So I appreciate you guys. Happy freaking Monday. If you guys are inside school, see you guys on this Tuesday school coaching call. If you're not inside school yet, well, I hope to see you in there one day. Okay, guys. Bye.